Hello and welcome back to the Wasteland, everybody. Welcome back to Fallout 4, where today we're going to be taking a look at the double-barrel shotgun. Probably your very first shotgun that you're going to be introduced to in Fallout 4. And sadly, only one of two shotguns that's actually in the base game of Fallout 4. It's just the double-barrel shotgun and the combat shotgun. There are a few more that are added with the Creation Club, which is kind of nice. I wish that there was more of them, especially a pipe shotgun, because that would be like the easiest pipe weapon to make, and it would make the most sense, but we don't have that. Double barrel is going to be the first one that you're likely going to find. You can find these from raiders. There's a lot of booby traps that tend to use double barrels, so if you disarm one of them, you could get it. There tends to be double barrels laying around in pretty common areas. They're around dead settlers pretty often. So the double barrel shotgun for stats deals 5.6 damage on average per pellet, and it fires out 8 pellets. This is a decent amount of damage per shot, assuming that you connect with all the pellets. Unfortunately, in this game, Bethesda decided to make this like a video game shotgun, so it has incredibly short reach because it has very wide spread. And I really don't like that, especially when we only have a few shotguns to actually work with. Having it have even more spread doesn't really help us that much. So this is a close range only weapon. This one does do 162 damage per second, which is pretty good. The damage per second is nice from the double barrel just because you can fire out both barrels pretty quick. Although it does have somewhat of a slow reload, and since it is double barrel, you are restricted to just 2 barrels, which is interesting because there are other guns in this game, like the missile launcher, that can have more barrels. I figured they would just do that for the double barrel, but they actually kept this one decent, at least in the way that it looks. This one has 47 range, which is pretty decent for a shotgun. 16 accuracy, pretty bad. Even by shotgun standards, that's not really that great. You would like to have that up a bit higher. This costs 27 action points to be using in VATS. I've never really used VATS all that much in Fallout 4, so I can't imagine it being way great with the shotgun, but yeah, close range it's probably fine. This has 2 shots in it, as it should for a double barrel, so that's correct. And this thing weighs a whopping 9 weight. Why a cut down double barrel weighs 9 weight, I have no idea. That is extremely heavy for a weapon like this. It should be much lighter than that, but the weights are all off on Fallout 4's gear, so 9 weight, I guess, for your cut down double barrel. Not quite a sawed off double barrel, as there's a different mod for that, even though you would probably also classify this as a sawed off double barrel. The pros to the double barrel are that it does have high damage per shot, as you would kind of expect from a shotgun. It has relatively common ammo. Shotgun shells are not super hard to find throughout the wasteland. A lot of vendors tend to sell them, and it's only going to be the double barrel and the combat shotgun, at least in the base game, that are going to be competing for one another. It also is an early game weapon, so it's going to be your shotgun for the early game. The major cons to this, though, are that it does have a low magazine. 2 shots is not always a lot, especially if there's more than 2 enemies and you can't put both of them down with those 2 shots. Short range is going to be another issue because this doesn't have very good effective long range. Even once you fully max it out, it's still fairly close range, which is a little bit of a bummer. And I guess the major con to this one is that it gets completely outcompeted by the combat shotgun later on. There's really no reason to be using the double barrel unless you just really like the look of it, or you happen to get a legendary one that's pretty strong and you just don't find any legendary combat shotguns that are very good. And that's really disappointing. The double barrel, in my opinion, should have more damage than the combat shotgun, and it should have better accuracy. That way, you actually have a reason to take it, so you have a more powerful gun, but it's limited by the ammo size, as opposed to like the combat shotgun that works better as either a semi-automatic or a fully automatic shotgun that's better for close range and can apply more DPS that way. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way, where the combat shotgun is just better at the double barrel than everything. It has better damage, it has better damage per second, it has about the same accuracy and range as the double barrel would. I guess it is heavier, but it does hold more shots too, and it also has way more modifications. It's just all around better, which is a real bummer for the double barrel. There is one perk that can help out with this, at least in terms of damage. That is Rifleman. You want to be sure to grab that. Even when this is cut down, I'm still pretty sure it's counted as a rifle. If not, then you would need Gunslinger. But I'm thinking that this is a rifle regardless because you use it in both hands, even when it is fully sawed off. I do wish that the full sawed off version did count as a pistol, though. That would at least give it some sort of a niche. The double barrel is an okay starting weapon. It's not terrible, but it's not great either, and it's going to fall off later. For an overall rating for the double barrel, I'd probably put this thing into like C tier. It's okay enough, but it definitely gets beat out later on by quite a few different weapons, either for close range or for a shotgun roll. It's not really the best. let's go over a modded version of the double barrel and talk about which mods I would recommend. So for the mods, we have quite a few options here. For the receiver, you just want to go with the advanced receiver. That's the strongest receiver for the double barrel, gives it the most amount of damage, so you might as well just take that one. There is kind of a weird thing going on with Fallout 4 in the receiver. I don't know why a receiver would give you more damage, but okay. After that, for a barrel, I would recommend the long barrel. The long barrel is the best of the barrels if you want the highest stats. Although, if you do want to take this as a pistol or replace your pistol with a shotgun, then you can take the sawed-off barrel and just cut this down and make it as lightweight as possible. That is kind of fun, and at least it somewhat fills that role. Although, again, it does get out-competed by if you just cut down a combat shotgun and did the same thing, or even something like a combat rifle and did the same thing with it. So that one isn't as good. The long barrel is the better option here. Then going with a full stock, you either have that or the cut down stock. The full stock will give you better stability, so you might as well put that one on there, unless again you're going for the very short stock, very lightweight pistol like shotgun. For sights, you actually do have a couple options, but generally I just stick with the bead sight that's already on the shotgun, or I go with the glow sight, which makes it a little bit more visible. You could go with the red dot. That's okay too. Sights are completely your choice. And then for a barrel accessory, I just don't really take anything. You could go with the spiked muzzle brake on here, have a better recoiling gun and have a better bashing gun, and only use this at incredibly close range, in which case then it is better in that regard. But I usually don't like that and want to be using this at somewhat medium range. It's still generally a close range weapon, but this does make it a little bit better. Once you put all of these onto the shotgun, it does make it better, so I guess I'd put it up a tier into B tier. It's a decent weapon compared to a lot of the weapons in Fallout 4, but it's nothing way crazy, especially compared to the combat shotgun, which is what it's always going to be compared to. There is actually no unique version of the double barrel in the game, which is also a big knock against it. I wish that there was a few. You can still get legendary double barrels, but they have to be drops from enemies. So you can still get some really good ones, like if you get a violent one or a mighty one, or you get the legendary effect that allows you to do double damage on the last shot fired from the gun. That one's actually really good with the double barrel since it only has the 2 shots. Instigating can also be really good, but that one's good with everything. So if you can find any good shotguns, any good legendary effects on your double barrel, it can work really well. My personal favorite with the double barrel is actually the Ghoul Slayer add-on. Not necessarily because ghouls are all that scary, but just because it fits so well for a double barrel, since you always see a double barrel in like zombie movies, and it also reminds me of The Evil Dead. So I think that one fits the best thematically, even if it's not really the strongest. So double barrel, a little bit disappointing in this game. At least it looks good, so that is a pro, especially compared to a lot of the weapons in this game, so that's kind of nice. How do you guys enjoy the double barrel shotgun in Fallout 4, and where would you place it on the tier list? Thank you guys so very much for watching this, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye, everyone!